The theme for today is all about awakening. I'm Lauren Napick, and in this talk today, I am going to be covering this theme because I'm finding that a lot of people are a bit confused as to what this word or meaning of awakening means when it's in relation to your spiritual journey, spiritual awakening, and personal growth journey. So I set the intention today in this talk to actually be able to help clarify that for you. And I choose the end result to be really focused and deliver really clear examples so that you can have a very clear understanding and tools as well for yourself to walk away with from this awakening process and what it all means. So the premise of this awakening really goes back to us having a human experience. So I'm sure we can all agree that we are human beings. We have a human aspect of ourselves. There's also this other aspect of ourselves that is our soul. And our soul is really our connection to all things across all time and space, and understanding that this soul is our energy and it is infinite, and it is something that is within us and around us and within our energy field as well. So in that premise, we really are going from the point of being just a human being to actually living through the theory or the premise of duality, which is saying that we are a infinite being, a spiritual being having a human existence. So the purpose of us, if you just imagine that you're, a star in the sky, and you're a beautiful essence in the sky, and that's your essence, and you're connected to all things through all time and space, and there is a purpose that your soul has wanted. It wanted to come into earth and to have a human experience as well, and we call this an individuation process. So in this process, the spirit chooses to come down into earth and become a human, have an experience as a human. And in that immediate moment when our spirit or our soul becomes a human being in the womb and straight after we're born, we have this individuation process that happens, and it effectively cuts us off from our spiritual being, from our infinite self. So in that essence, we become ultimately just a human being, and immediately our systems go into play. Our unconscious mind goes into play to really determine how it is here on earth, how being a human is, what we need to know, how we need to go about life in order to survive. So the unconscious mind aspect of our human nature is all about survival, which is great because we want to survive. So when we're little, when we're infants, just little babies, and up until we're 5 years old, we are creating all of these belief systems within us. And those belief systems tell us how it is. It tells us how to survive. If you think about being a baby, we are helpless. So, we need to know how it is to tell the people around us and our caregivers what our needs are. And one of the ways we do that, for example, is if we're hungry, as a baby, we can cry so that our caregiver knows, okay, something's not right. We need to have a look at things. Okay, we need to feed her. So that is an example of how why our beliefs are actually created in our human existence. So they're really useful. We should be thankful for our limiting beliefs and our way of orientating how it is, because in our unconscious mind, that has allowed us to survive. So as we grow up, we are supposed to have an awakening process, and this is when we really become an adult. So if we don't go on and have this awakening process, what actually happens the awakening process is really about awakening to the fact that we, yes, are a human being at one part of us, but we also have this soul within us, this infinite being, and together that is what makes us whole. So if we're living on earth as a human being and we haven't reconnected or awakened to the fact that we're also an infinite being and a whole, then we actually continue to live our life just through being a human being. And ultimately, the reason we came to earth in the first place as a soul, because we have our soul's purpose. We wanted to achieve something on earth. We wanted to leave our legacy or help mankind in some way. There was a reason our soul wanted to come here in the first place. If we never awaken to that part of us, then we never really understand what our soul's purpose is, and we never fulfill our soul's purpose within this life. So if we take that away, we end up as basically half. We're incomplete. And that is our human existence. We live as if we're incomplete, and we still live our life from our unconscious mind, which is all about survival and safety, as we said. And the rules that we made up as children and as babies of our limiting beliefs, or of our beliefs of how it is and how we need to survive, continue to rule our life for our remaining life until we have that awakening process and become whole. So technically, if we don't have that awakening process, you end up living your life incomplete and just resolving your beliefs that you created as an infant and a child from your unconscious mind. So what that actually means in reality, just to really concretize this for you, is that you're living your life by the same set of rules that you created to survive as a child. So even if you're an adult in your age and your physical age, your unconscious mind is still ruling your life from the rules you made as a child. So those rules and those beliefs are actually outdated now, because you're an adult. You don't need to cry anymore to tell others around you that you're hungry and you need something, or that you have unmet needs. You're an adult now. You can go and get food for yourself, but your unconscious mind is still running off those same beliefs. So the only really quirk in this system is that there's no manual on this awakening process happening. So people can live their whole lives as an incomplete human being and never have the awakening process to know that, a part of us, yes, indeed is human, and a part of us is our soul and wants to deliver our soul's purpose. And that's why we came here on earth in the first place. So it's about moving from incompleteness to wholeness as well. So I'd love to just share a little bit of my story to, again, help you see this visually, because I know that it's a basic premise, but if you're still living in just the human side and just from your unconscious beliefs, then this is often hard to comprehend, because when our unconscious mind is listening to these types of things, it starts to panic. You might actually now even have fear present in your body. You might be getting distracted. You might not be really understanding or taking in the information I'm saying. And if that is the case, I would really encourage you to re-watch this, because it is really powerful stuff. So our unconscious mind is always trying to protect us. Nothing in our system is working against us. Okay, so I just want to make that clear from the start. So for my personal story, I want to share with you just one part about one belief that I have had that was a real deep overarching belief that really did create a lot of aspects of my life. But in the interest of time, I'm only going to share with you one part of it. But trust me when I say that I can honestly share with you almost a million examples from my life of this one belief. So my one core belief that was really overarching that I'm going to share with you today was the need or the belief that I need to belong. And if I don't belong, I'm literally going to die. And if you remember that everything within our unconscious mind and our beliefs is for our survival. So when you get to the real core of it, it might seem silly consciously, but when you get to the core of it, of each of these, certain beliefs that we made up as children and as babies, they all end up, if you don't get this, that you will die, okay? Because that is why these beliefs were formed, for our survival and to know how it is. So for me, needing to belong is one of these core beliefs that I needed to do. If I did not belong with my family or my friends or in my tribe, then I would be rejected from that tribe and be on my own and die. So one of the ways specifically how that has been a pattern in my life, so there's been many, many different examples. But the one specifically I'll share today is around me making money. So within my family and friendship group, we all, I was in my late 20s, and I was in my dream job, and I was making a lot of money, and I was getting promoted and really on a high trajectory for work. And I was getting a lot of perks as well. I was getting a lot of highlights from this trip. I was getting, flown around the world to different events, all treated like VIP, and it was a really amazing time of my life. And there were certain things within my belief system that made me feel that I was no longer safe. The more I was doing this job, the more I was getting paid, the more I was traveling around and, having this kind of dream job was putting me further and further and further away from belonging to my tribe. And that was danger signs going off in my unconscious mind. And I just want you to remember, this is all happening unconsciously. So consciously, my mind, what I was actually thinking, I was like, this is fantastic. I'm loving life. This is my dream. I'm so happy and excited, and I've got all these successes and achievements, and I'm feeling great about myself. I'm not comparing myself to anyone else. I'm not consciously looking and comparing myself to my family or my friends or my tribe or anything like that. But from an unconscious point of view, which means I'm not even aware of it, the alarm bells are going off. And it's saying, wait, Lauren, you're having a whole different lifestyle. You're like going here. And that's putting you at risk. And I also want to flag that this has nothing to do either with my family or my friends or my tribe, because none of them have this conscious thought. None of them thought, if Lauren makes more money than me, or if Lauren gets all these perks and gets flown around the world and goes to all these amazing events, that, I'm going to reject her and kick her out of, I'm not going to be friends or family with her anymore, and she's going to be rejected, and we're going to send her out for certain death and she's going to die. None of that was happening. They were all over the moon for me. They were all happy for me. They were all supporting me. There was absolutely nothing, no danger that my success and my role and my lifestyle that I was creating, there was no danger for me to be abandoned from my tribe and not belong to my tribe and die. Okay, so I just want to make that clear. My people within my tribe did nothing to stimulate this or create this. My conscious mind did nothing to create this. This is what I'm talking about when I mean it's our unconscious mind, which is still treating us as if we are a baby. And it's just all made up. It's a made up story, a made up programming, if you will, that our system is running off unconsciously. So, and it's not wrong. It's not trying to punish me. Again, it's trying to protect me. It's trying to keep me safe. It thinks I'm going to die if I don't belong to my tribe. So the more this was happening and this dream job was happening, and I ended up actually getting struck down with a debilitating dizziness condition. And I had this debilitating dizziness condition for just under 9 years of my life. And especially in the first 12 months, I could not walk, I could not drive, I was not independent. I couldn't travel, I couldn't do anything. I had to quit my job that I loved so much. I literally went from being like a high social, loved being out, traveling all the time, loved my job, to literally being stuck on my couch and not being able to move. And I was able to still survive financially. Luckily, I had income protection, so I took a pay cut from what I was earning, but I was still able to be financially independent. But what that meant was, from a unconscious mind point of view, is that, okay, great, we stopped Lauren from going, too high, too far away from her tribe, too far away from belonging. She's now down here again. Whoop, great, back to belonging. Not only did I belong to my tribe, I actually put extra connections on them, because I did get some added benefits. A bit of perks of being sick was the added benefit. Everyone was really worried about me. Everyone gave me more attention. Everyone, I felt like I was special. Everyone was, really loving and supportive around me. They would come and take time out of their day to come and pick me up and take me to doctor's appointments because I couldn't walk or drive there, couldn't function on my own. I actually literally did become an infant again, needed to be taken care of. Even just walking to the kitchen to get myself food was hard. So it really was a really crystal clear example of this unconscious belief of I need to belong to my tribe. And when I got too far away, in a made up part of my unconscious mind, not in reality, just the perception from my unconscious mind, was becoming too independent, coming too different, coming too this and that. That's when it had to take action. Okay, it wasn't trying to punish me. And now I understand how everything unfolded. There's obviously a lot more nuances to that, but in this more simplistic example, I hope you can really see it's like a cause and effect. We have these unconscious beliefs that we make up when we're a child, and then even when I was and I needed to belong to survive, to belong to my tribe, I then was an adult and could do things on my own, but I'm still living off these same beliefs because I hadn't had an awakening process yet. So these beliefs are still running my world unconsciously. So then when I'm older, I'm independent, having a great life, loving life, getting too far away from my perception of my unconscious mind that I didn't belong to my tribe anymore, and that means I'll die. So then I had to create a situation where I lost all of those things, lost my independence, and then needed to belong to my tribe and survive. And I did survive, which is great, but I would have survived as well otherwise because it's a made up story. So it wasn't really until I had my own awakening journey, so that's human side, to then awakening side, that I could even fully understand to the depth of what actually was going on. And you can do that as well for every aspect of your life. And it's not until you have an awakening process that you can then change how you create your life and how you can stop living by those unconscious beliefs that you actually made up when you were a baby and a child less than 5 years old. So the awakening process is really ultimately you becoming the adult in your life, because really before the awakening process, what's happening in the world is when we have just a human experience, we are then in adult bodies, but we're really a 5-year-old. We're acting off our 5-year-old belief system. So can you imagine now, I want you to imagine what you would do if you saw the 5-year-old you driving a car. You'd be like, no way, get out of the car, get out of the car, get out of the car. You can't drive the car. You don't know how to drive the car. It's unsafe for you to drive the car. So that's kind of what the unconscious mind is doing. If you imagine that the car for your existence is something that is against your beliefs, you're fine to do it now. You know how to drive. You're an adult, whatever it might be. But your unconscious mind still thinks it's unsafe for you to do that. And again, it's not trying to punish you. It's trying to protect you and keep you alive and keep you safe. So we are grateful for that. It's just about having this awakening process so that you can no longer be guided by your unconscious mind and the survival beliefs that you set up as an infant and as a child, but then actually choose to live your life from this adulthood and really be able to then actually deliver your soul's purpose. You can be on your true path and your true soul's purpose. And that's ultimately why we came here in the first place. So I would love to give you an exercise to leave you with to really concretize this for you. Of course, it's your choice if you do it or not, but it can really help you to see the difference of how your unconscious mind is actually behind the scenes, running off, just resolving these beliefs to keep you safe. Again, it's for survival, no hard feelings. And yeah, once you see it for yourself, it's a really, really good exercise. So I would encourage you to pick an example or a situation in your life that you really don't like, that you feel like you could either have it as a pattern, that you have it like you've already recognized that it's an ongoing pattern. So this could be something like if you have bad luck in finding a partner or like an intimate partner, and you always pick the wrong partner for you, it always ends up in a chaotic issue, or it's like the same person one after the other, even though like they've got the same qualities. Or it could be like from a job perspective, if you no matter what you do and what skills you get, you can never get beyond a certain salary. Or it could be about health, like mine was, you're getting sick with something, you have a really chronic illness or something that's, just coming out of the blue, or it's stopped you from doing something. It can be really any example that you like, big or small. And I'd love for you to do like a piece of paper with 2 columns. And you can do it obviously like on your phone or whatever. So one column, you're going to list out all of the things you hate about that situation. So for example, me with being dizzy, what I hated was I lost my independence. I had to quit my job. I couldn't drive. I couldn't go out socializing. I couldn't travel anymore. I couldn't get myself food. It was hard to even shower. I couldn't shower when no one was home, just in case I fell over in the shower. I couldn't sleep, which was really annoying. Multiple different things that I hated or disliked about it. So do a list of things that you hate or dislike about the situation, and take your time with it. Like really get to the core and let it all pour out of you. If you get stuck, just start writing, because more will flow. Then the other list or the other column is actually going to be for you to write out what you like or what you get out of the situation that can be considered positive. Now, immediately you might think, oh, Lauren, there's nothing, like I absolutely hate this. There's nothing at all. How can you ever assume that, there's something good out of it? But if you allow yourself to, set the intention to be open to receiving what is actually potential positives out of the situation, and allow yourself to receive them. And again, if you get stuck, just start writing. And I want you, if you get stuck, just to imagine that you can imagine it. Imagine if there was something positive about the situation that you hate, or that you really dislike, what would that be? And just start writing. So for my example, it was that I belong to my tribe. I got looked after. I got taken care of. I got picked up. I felt really special. I felt a lot of love from my tribe and my family members and my friends. And yeah, like it gave me a lot of safety and security in my tribe, not in my own body because I was sick, but in my tribe. So there was that definite benefit there. So I'd love for you to do that. And if you can get to like go as deep as you can on the desired level to see if you can get to the core belief of like, okay, well, if I was, 5 or under, if I was the young me, what would I be getting out of this situation? What is it giving me? What's it stopped me from doing, which then has given me something else? What was I getting away too far from? So you can really get to the core of that. And once you do, it just gives you this power to see it. And then once you see it, once it's in your conscious mind, you're able to consciously make the choice and change it. So that is the exercise along with this talk for you to do as you'd like. If you do it, I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear your feedback as well on the talk and how it's landed for you, what's landed for you. So feel free to share with me anything that's landed for you. That also just helps you sink in and say to your unconscious what you are learning. And as I said, this unconscious mind can feel sometimes a bit threatened with these topics, especially because your unconscious mind and your human side of being incomplete doesn't know that it's missing this other side, this infinite side, this soul being. It can't comprehend it until you have an awakening process. So it wants to live on its own and live on your unconscious mind because it's been doing it for however long you've been alive, and it's been keeping you alive doing that. So it's not really open to this, other part of you, because that's scary. It's the unknown, and it means that you'll be creating your life not from your unconscious mind anymore. So that is, covering the awakening side of the theme for today's talk. So awakening really means that you're going to, once you have an awakening process, you actually stop living and creating your life from your unconscious beliefs that you created when you were a baby and a child under 5 years old, and you become the adult in the room. You acknowledge that you have a human existence, and you also have a soul existence, an infinite being having a human experience, and that you are actually put on this earth to deliver your soul's purpose. There's a higher part of your higher greatness and your higher nature that you want to leave in this world, that you want to do while you're here on this world, in this world. And that's what awakening is. So thank you so much for joining me. Again, I'm Lauren Nappick. And if you want to learn more about the awakening process, then of course, feel free to always reach out to me.